Good morning again, or afternoon or evening. Hello, and again, my name is Jamie with MyTarot.org. Going into my third week here again of doing the tarot, doing the morning reflections, the daily meditation, checking in, seeing how the root of the tree is before it grows throughout the rest of the day, trying to water the roots, all that other wonderful stuff. So this is one of those mornings where you wake up and you have that free-floating anxiety, that things, you just start thinking about all the things that are piling up that you should be doing that could affect you for the rest of your life. So as I'm sitting here for the last 10 minutes, shuffling the cards, trying to clear my mind. It's one of those days where the mind is not clearing. So it's kind of why I like the tarot so much, because just meditation for me sometimes just invites all that anxiety in. But then when I start reading the tarot, it shifts, because it's one of those things where they say it's hard to hold two different thoughts in your head at one time. So when meditating, sometimes that's why some people will use the bowls. That's why some people have other things, because it is hard to hold two thoughts in our head at the same time. And this is going to distract me, and it's going to shift my gears, and I know that. Because, I really was just going down that anxiety spiral. Nothing bad, just normal. So I'm grateful for everybody here to have an excuse to say, oh, I have a responsibility. I said I was going to do a reading today. So thank you again. Okay, look at the jumper. Talking about anxiety. See that guy carrying all that weight right there? That's a lot of weight. That's a 10 of wands. So this should be interesting. And again, when we face these things, when we do our daily inventory, it makes us look at the 10 of wands. It makes us look at what's presented in front of us, so that we don't just bury it, hide it, and let it fester. Like I was saying, we're watering the roots of the tree that's going to grow. The tree's just a seed in the morning, and by the end of the day, depending upon how we've taken care of that tree is how that tree will result just in the short time we're awake today. So let's see what we have. Again, relaxing our shoulders, taking a breath, clearing our mind, listening to the cards like they're the sound of the ocean, relaxing our shoulders, taking a breath, and listening to the cards like they're the sound of the ocean. And so I am going to do my three stacks here. Each one of these stacks, my different thread going out to the universe, each one a different thought, a different conversation. And if you believe in the multiverse, each one of these is a different path, because this path is one conversation, but this is going to be a different conversation. And this is a different one. So I'm going to pull, as a matter of fact, I'm going to pull this string right here in the middle. And that's what's right at the heart. Let's see what's right at the center of everything. Oh, like I say, we have jumpers today. That wants to be first. And as I always say, there are no coincidences. Because I tell you what, the way that I shuffle, since I do the poker style shuffle, it is one of those things where it's difficult to get jumpers. So when I do, I want to pay attention to them. I'm going to flip each card over like it's the pages of a book so that I can think that I know what's going on all the way up here, and then by the time I flip over this card, it changes everything. So, what do we have today? So we have the Four of Cups. So fours are generally about balance. 4 legs on a chair, four legs on a table, nice and solid. But the thing about that with the cups, and Pamela Coleman Smith does a beautiful job here with this guy who's staring at the 3 cups and looks a little bit bored. Cups are emotions, cups are feelings. So it's great when things are stable. It really is. But then a month later, things are still stable, nothing changing. 6 months later, we start getting a little bit tired about how things aren't changing. And the thing with water and cups is that water, it's important for flow. If you have a lake, you need to have water coming into that lake and water going out of that lake, because we've all seen what happens to a pool after 6 months without any fresh water. So this card here is about, after a while, we get everything we want. We can start taking it for granted. After a while, sometimes we can get bored. Sometimes we just need to refill our own cup. But sometimes we don't see it. So here we have the 8 of Swords. Cups are feelings, emotions, spirituality. Swords are thoughts and ideas. This is about the mental aspect of the cards. And 8s are about progress and moving forward. But within the tarot, I also read the Marseille, which is the original tarot. And traditionally, you have hard suits and soft suits. Soft suits are like the coins and the cups. The hard suits are the swords and the wands, batons, because they can be used as weapons. So the swords are the mental. The swords are the ones that used to be held by kings and the people who were the planners and all that other wonderful stuff. But here we can see that progress is being impeded by the time we get up to 8 of Swords. And this is kind of like what I was talking about before I even laid out the spread. That getting ourselves in that mental bind where when we're not taking our daily inventory because we've closed our eyes, when we are not doing a daily reflection because we've bound ourselves up and we're too busy. It feels like we're putting ourselves in this mental trap, this mental loop here. Whereas if we just take the blindfold off, we'll see that we're not really even bound and that we can actually just completely walk through. So again, I'm absolutely seeing here this thing where it's about tying ourselves up into a knot. When we're not taking care of ourselves, when we're not doing our inventories, when we're not meditating, it's about tying ourselves up into a knot. And then we have the Hierophant reversed. So the Hierophant, called the Pope in the original tarot, this is about tradition. This is about the things that are ingrained in us. It's about following the rules. It's about the societal things. If it's work, we have a certain SOP we should follow. So it's all those things that that we have learned are a requirement. But this is reversed. And the sense I'm getting so far from this is that stress, where, for example, if this is work, been there, done that, got the shirt, starting to take things for granted, and then we get into that mental bind that keeps us from being able to do our job. Or if it's a relationship, it's the same thing. And so we start rebelling against those things that we feel pinned in, instead of examining what's going on. Instead, we react to what's going on. We fight against that. This, again, the Pope and the Hierophant is about those four legs on the table. It's about that stability. And it tells you why it's stable and why you need to not move. So I'm going to flip over the advice card, which is the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so knights are the element of fire and air. Of fire. Knights are the element of fire. Coins are the element of earth. So look at this guy here. So all the other knights in the deck, the knights are on a horse who's rushing forward. Feet are off the ground. It's movement. It's everything else, because the knight is fire and energy. It really is. It's fire. And what the heck is going on here? If you look at this card, are you sensing fire and energy? No. This is a plow horse. It's a work horse. It's not meant to move fast. And this knight here, full of fire and energy, but it's as if he is rooted in place, taking stock, thoroughly examining the coin in front of him, looking at the fields here that need to be plowed. This knight is making plans, making sure that everything's happening, taking notes. He's doing the checklist. He's doing everything except moving forward. He's doing everything except moving forward. Because this card here is reversed. So I read reversals, like I was saying, and reversals are when cards are blocked. So what does that mean when the knight is blocked? That means that we're choosing not to move forward. We are firmly rooted, probably can't think outside of the box. And we can either take an action or react. So if this was about work, this is about, instead of taking stock and doing what we're supposed to get things done, it's easier to get stuck in our head, and then all of a sudden we start blaming the job. It's like, well, I'm quitting because it's the job. No, it's because we get wrapped up in our head, we're bored, we've been there so long, and we're not looking at things the way they really are. So we do things against the status quo. Or if it's a relationship, it's about going against the status quo. And then we feel stuck. We feel trapped. We feel like this knight full of fire and energy. And yet, it's like that knight's reflection. And it's reflected in the Eight of Swords. Look at this. It's a reflection of each other. Both of these are not moving. Both of these are just... This one's fixated on the coin because this is the mental state that they're in. So for today, if this is the advice card, what is it that's keeping us from moving forward? What are we doing in our heads that's keeping us from moving forward? And are we going to keep doing that until we finally clash with all that external, with the external rules, with our own discomfort, are we ultimately setting ourselves up for that clash? When it is, what we need to do is that, yes, we need to take stock, but we also need to start finding that movement. We have to respect the fire within us, that night within us. We need to respect the fire. Fire needs movement. Fire needs air. We need to take an action before we throw things upside down. So today is about taking an action before the actions take us. How about that? Taking an action before outside actions take us. Getting out of our head. Acknowledging things. Become that free-flowing water. So, I hope everybody here has an amazing day or evening. Thank you again very, very much. I'm 5 people short of having 500 people on my channel. So that jumped up. So that's cool. And I'm coming up on 400 videos. 400 videos. So that's kind of cool too. So if you're in Maryland, I am part of the Maryland Tarot meetup group. So if you go to MyTarot.org, MyTarot.com, you'll see that we're having a meetup in Maryland. And that would be cool if somebody showed up. Also, I am going to be reading at La Lune Metaphysical tomorrow. I do that every Thursday, starting at 5. So that would be cool if somebody showed up. So, to the entire world out there, have an amazing day or an amazing evening, and I will be back tomorrow.